I recently found myself in the market for a new pepper grinder, and I did some research and I ended up getting this model from Perfex. It's kind of an old school aluminum hand grinder. It's I think really cool from a design standpoint. I read some reviews online before I picked it up, and the people were raving about how long it lasts and obviously how it looks aesthetically. It's a salt and pepper grinder set. I don't use a lot of salt, so it didn't seem important to pick that up. I did get the pepper grinder, so I want to do a quick video review of it. So here it is. It's a full aluminum body, really heavy duty. I was really impressed by the weight of this thing when I first saw it, and just sort of just how it feels in your hand. Most pepper grinders are wood, and they're usually made nicely, but this one really seemed to cut above. Just as a size standpoint goes, this is a standard Sharpie marker. A little hard to see because we're zoomed in. Perfex used to have a larger model. I think this one is about 4.5 inches tall. The old one was about 7 inches tall, maybe 7.5. Those are really hard to find. One recently dropped on eBay for about $100, and that was used for a few years. So it seems like if you're really in the market for them, they are available now and then, but then they just sort of go quickly. This is, again, the standard model. It uses this handle to grind, which we'll get into in a second. The pepper corns go in here in this little door. Gonna be kind of hard to see with this lighting. And it shuts really securely, so that's nice. There's really not a whole lot to it. There's a handle. This piece spins. There's a pin here. You would never really touch this pin except you wanted to piece it apart. The door here, and then the adjustment is on the bottom. This nut is turned in or out depending on if you want a grinder. You want the grind to be more fine or more coarse. Obviously, you turn it out, the two pieces are further apart from each other, so you're getting a coarser grind. As you turn it in, you get a finer grind. Real quickly before we get into the performance, check out the box. Not a whole lot to it. It's everything's French. It's a French company, and it doesn't really say too much about it. Just Perfex Office. I don't know if that's the line or whatever. I've never seen this described as anything except a Perfex aluminum pepper grinder. Grinder of pepper. Here is it in action. You would just hold it with one hand, twist, that's it, and you turn this out. That was fairly coarse, but you would get a coarser grind, and you turn it in, and you get a finer grind. So the interesting thing about this design is that there's actually little pieces of pepper in between the body and the pieces doing the grinding here. So you can't really turn it in. You turn it in a little bit, you close the gap, then you turn it, then you turn it in a little bit more, then you turn it, then you turn it in a little bit more, then you turn it. I've seen a lot of people get confused when using this. I mean, not that there's a lot of people in my apartment using my pepper grinder, but I've definitely seen some confusion. And now I've done this process a few times, and you can see a much finer grind. Yeah, obviously it gets harder to turn. If you used manual coffee grinders in the past, which I have extensively, the process is essentially the same. Again, there's just coffee, or in this case pepper, in there, so you have to turn it the top a little bit and then turn it and tighten it. Not a big deal, but can be a little confusing. And you can see a pretty good range. You wouldn't really want your pepper much coarser than that. It's for like maybe a soup or something like that. And then over here you can see it gets really fine. We won't zoom in too much. I think everyone knows what ground pepper looks like. The one really telling thing I would say is that when you're really fine here, you could smell the pepper in the air, which is, at least in my mind, how you know it's becoming really finely ground and the pepper grinder is doing its job. From a consistency standpoint, I'm really happy with this. Here is a pretty medium, like here or here. That's a nice day-to-day medium type grind, and you can see everything's fairly consistent. Obviously, as you get more coarse, you're gonna get more fines in there. Sort of unavoidable. This isn't like a high-end coffee grinder or something that costs hundreds of dollars. So it's not gonna be perfect, but it does the job really well. I can't really speak to how long this thing is gonna last, but there are a lot of reports online about people using their Perfex grinders for 20 plus years, so I do have high hopes. I've only had this for a few weeks, so I can say so far it's been good, but no real details whether it's gonna last long term or not. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Perfex coffee grinder, Perfex pepper grinder. Been really happy with it. It definitely is adds a little flair to the kitchen. It works really well. Definitely on the pricey side. I've seen these things sell for between $65 and 99 euros, depending on where you're going. So that's where I say $65 up to like $110, even a little bit less than that, where the euro is now. But yeah, so that's it. Been really happy with it. Can definitely recommend it. Hopefully it'll last. Thanks for watching.